So here we go again. Another day.
Around and round on the roundabout. I
Yeah,
feel like a guinea pig on that wheel some weeks, Mike, you know? Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
It's fun living in Australia at this point.
Well, it's a little bit of a chaotic week. I think I was told actually by somebody who knows astrology very well, and they said this month of August is going to be really well, let's put it how she calls it, an emotional shitstorm for everyone. So,
Well, we've spoken about numbers before, Mike,
yeah,
and there is a new number that's come out this week, 223.
right, uh-huh,
And apparently, I'll just go from now. So we've got 5 and 4, 9 hours from now.
right.
Something is happening in the USA.
Ah, interesting.
It's on the FEMA website.
Ah,
There you go. You know, the FEMA
mm-hmm,
website?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's on the government website in America. So it's going to be at 4 a.m. Brisbane time, which is at 7 p.m. here now, 5 and 9. So it's about 2:30 New York time tomorrow. Well,
right,
today, because they're a day behind me.
right,
Yeah, so there is something happening in America tomorrow. Today, I should
right.
say. I don't know time zones, but it is weird what's happening, Mike.
Mm,
I've said it before, we've just got to keep our vibrations high,
mm,
put out all your happy thoughts,
yeah,
drink your colloquial water, what is it, colloquial silver,
colloidal
the
silver.
the CDL drink that Mike's been telling us about.
Mm,
Um, put your 528 tuning fork into your water if you've got one. They're only $20 on eBay. 528 tuning fork is the one that you want. We've all got to protect ourselves during what is happening, guys, without saying any words that's going to get us banned again. Okay? So how's your week been, Mike?
well, it's been a little bit quiet here in Austria, July and August. It seems to me they take 2 months vacation, but I've got pretty much
Can I come? How fast can I get there?
they yeah, I mean, but it's still there's always plenty to do.
Oh,
I
my
I
God.
put that post out. It's just a little 5 minute video of I was having a chat with my friend, and it soon became apparent that these weren't our words that we were speaking. We were using terms and phrases that weren't ours, and it was to do with water and how the importance of water is in resolving this sort of
Mm-hmm.
global crisis. It's actually interesting to
Yeah.
know that all the big guns, so-called big guns, the Clintons and people like this, they've all been buying up land with water reserves with it.
That's right.
Uh,
And funny thing I found out just yesterday was how much land in New Zealand all these hobnobs are buying. Makes you wonder
yeah,
why.
yeah.
You
But
know, um, they obviously can't come to Australia because we're so Chinese owned here.
really,
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of people over the world don't realise just how much. Oh yeah, it's like 40% of Australia's Chinese.
yeah,
They own Darwin Port. They own virtually all of Perth. We, as Australia, the government of Australia pays lease to rent the Darwin Port. Um, Work that out.
yeah,
So we're leasing our own land off the Chinese. Um, but there is a lot of things. It doesn't matter what you believe in
yeah.
at this point. There's so many theories, whether it's going to be World War III or COVID strains or the vaccines or whatever the heck. But the thing that
We're
we
in
all
World
have
War
to
Three. We're already
we
in.
are. It is, darling. It
Yeah,
really is World War III. I said to someone the other day, it's the Noah effect
yeah,
because this is a global spiritual cleansing that is occurring. The
absolutely.
ones who are running to get the vaccine, you look at them and they're all holding on to grudges or regrets or some sort of trauma
Fear,
or some sort of past issue,
fear.
or they're just spiteful, selfish people who like to gossip, or they're drama queens, all that negative behaviour.
Mm.
Um, they're the majority of the ones running off to get this vaccine. And they're all the ones who are going to be sayonara'd.
Yeah,
Um, because it is pretty apparent now that in 2 years, well, hello, I've been saying this since 2001 when Karina, my great-great-great-great-grandmother, told me all this stuff in 2001.
Right.
She said it starts in 2020, but by 2022-23, the population's going to go down by about 60 to 80%. So work that out of 7 million people, 7 billion people.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot. And she didn't actually call it anything,
No.
but she told me how it was going to be.
Yeah.
I always thought she was talking about a nuclear war, 10 years ago before all this stuff started. I honestly thought it was going to be a nuclear war, and that's why she was telling me to get my ass back to Australia because America was going to start a nuclear war, because she told me, get yourself back to Australia because that's where you must return to the place from where you are from, for that is where you're going to be safe. That's virtually how she was talking to me, because it was old school, because she's 200 years before us, so the English was different. It was old school. But now I'm seeing it. My daughter is now affected by it because, hello, with what she has to do for school now, and if I just do this, that'll give everyone an idea of what she's got to do at school. No way is she doing that, so she's got her exemption. She's now got the card, so she's got the papers. This is World War II papers that she has to carry around with her now. God, she's only 15, Let her have a bloody life, will you? We don't need to inflict this sort of stuff on our kids. They have enough just learning how to fit into society without society controlling us and all this. So the message that I want to give anyone listening to this is keep your vibrations high. If you're true to yourself, it's Marky Mark. Bring on those good vibrations.
This is how we change it all. Honestly.
That's right. But it really is, Mike.
Yeah.
We've got to allow, accept, and do not judge.
Yeah.
It's 3 words.
Yeah.
Allow others to do what they want.
Yeah.
Just allow them to do it. Don't accuse anyone. Why? As soon as we question someone as the question why haven't you taken the bins out? Why are you watching that show on TV? That's accusing.
Yeah.
So now we're belittling that person.
Yeah.
This is pure psychology. But when we use psychology in that form, which is very negative, by accusing people, we're actually creating negative energy. And this spiritual war that is now happening, it is Noah effect. I'm actually putting my stamp on this now. It's going to be the patent 090909. And if anyone doesn't understand why I did that, go to Google and put in patent, PATENT 060606, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Because I'm going to turn that around into a positive, and I'm going to patent 090909, and I'm going to call it the Noah effect. So if you know the Bible and you know what happened to Noah, we're on the boat because it's all the other ones. Look what happened to them. So the ones who are standing up and saying no more, we're on that boat. So we've all, you've even said it yourself, Mike. The boat doesn't sink by the water getting. The boat doesn't sink because of the water. It's only because the boat lets the water in. I think that was your quote that you've said before. And that's true. Don't let the waters come into our boat. Keep your vibrations high, guys, and we'll get through this. Okay? Start thinking your happy thoughts. Treat people with respect, kindness, love, and trust. And allow people to do what they're doing. Don't judge others. We have enough dramas trying to judge ourselves with our own life contracts and life reviews and stuff, life lessons. So don't judge why other people do what they do. Just allow them to do what they're doing.
Yeah, and
it's not too hard when you really think about it.
And allow me to do what I want to do, as long as I cause no harm to anyone. So,
and if you can't do that, go and sit under your rock for a couple of days, because that's virtually where I'm at these days, guys. It's horrible what they're doing to us here in Australia at this point. We're all in lockdowns. health officers. I won't mention names or their ranks or whatever, but it is horrible what is happening here in Australia. It's like we're the guinea pigs at this point. I can't understand it.
No.
Yeah, so it is fun what is coming, guys. Yeah, so enough about me, Mike. I'd like you to start talking because I just sit here and do those good vibrations.
Well, let's get straight on with the show. I'll just run through quickly what we got.
Yeah.
We got the very bizarre ghost pants, where we see a pair of pants just strolling down the street. Very interesting. A lovely story here of a child that sees the spirit of somebody whose life was taken. It just goes to show you how the innocence and purity of children, they pick up on all this.
Oh, of course.
And
it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it is gorgeous.
We're going to look at the spirit of a friend who saved her from pretty much the same kind of fatality. We're going to look at Mel, one of our viewers. Mel is going to explain what she felt during her experience when she knew that her daughter had stopped breathing.
Yay.
And then we'll have an NDE experience from Anne Horn. I tell you what, this story out in Tasmania of a Tasmanian hospital house really is something quite special. If they saw everything how this is reenacted, this is quite amazing. And of course, we're going to look at the work of Jennifer Farmer. So shall we just crack on, Linda, and just...
Absolutely, darling. Let's just go there.
Look at the ghost pants. Here we go.
Yeah, let's go and look at the ghost pants.
Let's take a quick look at this video. So guys, I have a short clip of a video that I feel is truly bizarre. So let us have a look at the footage and then we'll have a quick chat afterwards. So guys, I'm hoping that you can see why I'm saying this is a truly bizarre video. So guys, let's talk about the footage at hand. So we can see that the focal point of this video is the white rabbit. Now, this thing was caught by accident because as you can see, this thing comes running out of the corner and it's just legs and it runs up the road. Just legs, no body. Even at a point in the video, you can see that these legs run past this white box. Now, if this was something that was camouflaging the body, then it would have blocked out the white box. But no, the white box stays visible through the footage. So this, to me, I can't even name this. I mean, I've heard stories about these creatures, but I have never seen one, especially on video. So guys,
what do you think, Linda?
Well, interesting thing that we're showing this week, Mike, because remember I think it was last week? It's like 2 months past in the week between our shows. So I do apologise if I got the wrong show. Was it last week when we were saying that there was a ghost but it had a shadow?
Yeah, last week, yeah.
Because those pants had a shadow. And when you slow it down, because I've slowed it down and I've looked at it a few times, the right foot doesn't look right. It could be a broken foot. Mm-hmm. It could be shoes don't fit it. There's a lot of reasons why people run funny, okay?
Yeah.
But the big thing that I got with that is it's got a shadow. Ghosts don't have shadows.
Should we have another look?
Yeah.
Let's take a quick
look at this afterwards. So guys, I'm hoping that about the footage at hand. So we can see that the focal point of this video is the white rabbit. As you can see, this thing comes running out of the corner.
Just a prank, did you say? Sorry.
Yeah. But I was actually, one of the first things I thought of was, is this a dwarf dressed up for Halloween or something like that?
Yeah.
But how do you explain then the two legs running? Because there'd have to be two inside there.
Yeah, you're right.
Which wouldn't work right. It wouldn't work right.
No.
Because you can see if you slow it down, it is someone, they've got a knee. There is a knee in the pants.
Yeah.
But regardless if it's a hoax or paranormal, it's a damn good effect. Because we don't usually just see the pants running down the street by themselves, do we?
No.
I
mean, they kind of do this effect in theatres, don't they, when they want to do puppetry, where they black everything out. And so, the hands are just with whatever they've got on them. And there is something very, very similar. They didn't use it here, but there's a technique in theatre called Pepper's Ghost, where they use mirrors so that, you could be on stage, and off stage is somebody that looks ghostly, and they put all the dry ice and everything. But the mirror off screen reflects to a mirror on screen, and it looks like a hologram.
Yeah.
It's called Pepper's Ghost. It's an old Victorian trick that they use. And if anyone wants to do any theatre work and can't afford all this technology, Pepper's Ghost is the exact thing they should be doing.
Yeah.
So I always ask the question, though, why do people want to do this, and just be smart? If it's fake, which it looks to be because there's a shadow, why bother?
Yeah.
Are you so depraved?
Why bother?
Are you depraved that much that you need to do this? But there we are.
Yeah.
I
know, because I just don't have the mentality to sit there and make something fake. It
takes a lot of work,
I have enough paranormal activity around me.
Yeah.
Can I just go there, because we are a couple of minutes ahead of ourselves at this point.
Yeah.
My house next door is it is occupied by the ghost of Roy.
Yeah.
He died now about 5 years ago, and now the house has been sold. There's carpenters in there.
Right.
They were painting last week, and this week we've got some guys in doing the cabinetry in the kitchen.
Right.
So the kitchen window is only about 10 feet from where I sit under my back veranda.
Right.
Yesterday I was sitting out there, just sitting there on my phone enjoying the sun, and through the open window I heard one of the carpenters say, he yelled it out, "Oh my God, did you hear that? Was that you?" So I've sort of turned around thinking, are they talking to me? Because, I'm just on my phone. It's nice and quiet. And I heard the other guy yell out, "That wasn't me. That came up from the bedroom." And I'm thinking, I don't know what they heard in the house, but it was enough for them both. Within half an hour, they left.
Roy done a job.
Moments, it's these moments that I wish I had caught on film, because he hasn't left the building. He's letting them know he's not happy because they're changing everything around.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to fake videos because I have so much paranormal activity here on my own,
Yeah.
Wow, it is funny.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's move on to this spirit that's really been asking for help. It seems that her life was taken and they haven't found her, and she managed to communicate with this young child. So mainstream media as well, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Here we
Heaven
go.
forbid.
Let's have a look at this one.
Yeah.
Return now to a family vacation that took a strange turn in California. They visited the same area where a missing woman was last seen. ABC's Andrea Fuji picks up the story from there.
This morning, a California family's ghostly encounter could help solve a mystery. When the Gorba family went on a four-wheeling trip in the Sierra National Forest, their 3-year-old son, Caden, started talking to someone who wasn't there.
He was just in our car and he was pointing out to a certain spot in the meadow.
The family was at Shut-Eye Peak, about 70 miles outside Fresno, when they stopped for lunch. Mom, Victoria, says Caden told them there was a woman close by.
I got goosebumps. He says, "She needs our help, but she's dead." And she's laying face down with her legs up. And she can't talk to me, but she's over there. We need to go help her.
Caden's parents checked out the meadow, but saw nothing.
He kept saying, trust me, Mom." And I was like, "I trust you, bud. I believe you 100%.
Creeped out, the Gorbas said they headed back home. Caden's mom then posted their experience on social media, and that's when the Madera County Sheriff's Department reached out for more information. Turns out a woman went missing just over a year ago within 5 miles of where they were. A woman with a black shirt and blue hair.
He describes down to blue hair. He said she has a black shirt, blue jeans, and blue hair, Mom.
Detectives say Caden's description matched that of 53-year-old Sandra Hughes, who went missing in June 2020 after going camping alone. Caden was able to identify 3 out of 4 pictures of her. Detectives went back to the meadow with the Gorba family to investigate, and so far found nothing. But the case remains open.
If she was possibly a ghost looking for some help, I hope that he could have at least helped and maybe help the family find her.
That four-wheeler the family used to drive up to the meadow is now for sale. They say they're too spooked to use it again. Mona, Victor.
Andrea, thank you. And now we both have the chills.
Spooked. Well, they must be very, very frightened of spirit, you know.
Yeah, but why sell the poor car, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh, it makes me wonder, you know, if there's something else there that they haven't disclosed to the media.
Yeah, I think so.
I reckon there's something else there to that story for them to have to sell the car.
Yeah.
They've seen something in the car.
Yeah, they must.
You know, and, you know, like I know with ghosts, they do follow us around. She probably got in the car.
Yeah.
They got out.
Yeah.
They got out to go and see where this woman with the blue hair is. They've come back to the car and she's sitting inside the car. Yeah. And then she's like vanished and they're going, oh, my God, now the car's haunted.
Yeah.
I bet you any money that's what's happened. Well, that's just my assumption anyway here. But, you know, they wouldn't be selling the car.
Unfortunately, what they don't realise is even if they sell the car, the spirit of this lady will still stick around the house because she's found a connection and wants resolution.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Shelley stayed here for 3 days because I was the only one who was talking to her. You know, so because this little boy's talking to her, she'll probably stay with him. Yeah, it's a funny story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it is interesting.
Yeah, so,
you know, as Melinda says, their children never lie. I know when I was growing up, I had invisible friends, and you know, I could see them as clearly as I see you and me. And but my parents thought I was lying or seeking attention. But how could I explain? How can you not see them?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But,
you know, I remember one night when I was a kid, my sister Sharon, we had bunks. So, you know, every couple of months we'd get tired of having the bunk, so we'd make it into 2 single beds.
Right.
And then we'd go back to the bunks again. Yeah. And I remember this day I walked in, I was actually changing my sheets and I was on the bottom and my sister was on the top. And I was changing the sheets on my bed, so the ladder was against the wall. And the ladder came away from the wall and it was just like coming back and forward at me. Yeah. And I ran outside and I got my dad. I said, Dad, quick, you got to come and see this. Now, he did see it.
Right.
Because I came up behind him and it was still rocking. And he said, Linda, it's a figment of your imagination. But he saw that the ladder coming away from, you know, what a ladder for bunks is.
Yeah.
It was coming away from the wall and going back and doing this rock thing.
Right.
And he saw that. So, you know, parents, when you've got children seeing things, you know, if they're spiritual like you or I, they'd say, oh, well, you know, let's start writing this down so we remember what's going on, find out who it is, etc. But, you know, you obviously had the same childhood with me. Linda, you're making this up again?
Yeah, fortunately,
I'm just having these flashbacks. Hang on, I need some pills, Mike. I'm having flashbacks here. Linda, you're doing it again.
Fortunately, I never ended up in counselling. But
well, darling, they tried to institutionalise me, and I will go there. They actually did try to put me into a place.
Really?
I don't know how I didn't get into the place. Probably because I just shut up when the doctors were talking to me and I didn't tell them anything. I don't know. You know, but I do remember that I was at this doctor's surgery where he was saying, and how often does this happen? And I said, does what happen? You know, I was just in denial,
Yeah.
putting it all back on my mum and dad.
Yeah.
Do you see people that your parents don't see? No. So I know, you know, if I told them the truth, because children never lie, but, you know, I was about 8 by that point.
Right.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Well,
Interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's move on because we've got a lot to get through here.
We do tonight.
This next is a story of a friend who lost her friend through illness, and it's about how she came back with this heavily intervention. And I do like putting these on, you know, because it inspires us to know that this can happen in our lives at any one point.
Of course it can.
You know, and so, you know, it's always a reminder to be aware of the possibility of this divine intervention coming in any shape or form.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's have a little look at this one. Here we go.
She was a lot of fun. She was witty. She had a real good sense of humor. She just was the type of person that would do anything for you.
And she proved what a good friend she was when Kim's father died in an early age.
Carrie had given me a red rose with a card on it, and it said, "Kim, I will always be here for you. Love, Carrie." That just touched me in a way that I can't even describe.
In 1991, at the age of 30, Carrie was diagnosed with a rare combination of pancreatic and liver cancer. And 2.5 years later, the disease took her life. Besides her grief-stricken best friend, she left behind a husband and 2 children.
It just really made me stop and think, here are these 2 wonderful, beautiful children that she loved and adored so much, and now, you know, she's not there for them. And it was very hard for me as a mother to try to understand.
A month after Carrie's untimely death, Kim had a scare of her own.
And I noticed a small lump on my right breast about the size of a pea. And I went to work, and I was thinking about it all day.
Hi, Kim. I'm Dr. Thomas.
Hi, doctor.
Nice to meet
Because
you.
breast cancer ran in her family, Kim immediately sought medical advice.
The doctor examined me, and she said, "Oh, yeah, I feel it, but don't worry about it. It's just a fibroid cyst. All women have them."
6 months later, the lump still had not gone away. And at her annual exam, she again voiced her concerns.
And how old are you right now? I'm 34.
And he said, "Well, you're too young. Don't worry about this cyst. You know, you're too young to have a mammogram. Wait till you're 40. And I, of course, took his word.
In November of 1996, Kim realized that the lump had changed.
And I noticed the lump had gotten a lot larger. It was about the size of a $50, and it was real hard, and it didn't hurt. And I thought, oh no, this isn't right.
But Kim still did nothing because her physicians had reassured her she had nothing to worry about. And even her husband, Kevin, trusted the doctor's opinions.
I didn't encourage her to go and have it checked again. I should have, but because she had 2 doctors look at it already, you figure it's all right.
And then one night, Kim had an amazing experience that would change her life. Kevin was working late and Kim had drifted off to sleep alone. The next thing she knew, someone was trying to wake her up.
There was a tapping at my shoulder. And I remember I looked up and I tried to focus.
It was her lifelong friend, Carrie.
She had this aura about her. It was like lights were coming from behind her shoulders and her head, and her exact words were, "You've been messing around with this lump for too long now. Do you want to end up like me?
Your kids are the same age as my kids were when I died.
I mean it, get to the doctor. And as quick as she came, she was gone. Carrie? Carrie? And I turned the light on, and I felt at that moment that there was 1,000 pounds lifted off of my shoulders. I just knew in my heart that she was my guardian angel.
How you doing, Kim?
Good.
Good. I've got some very, very good news for you.
After the surgery, I asked my doctor what would have happened had I not had a mammogram till I was 40, and he said, I don't really want to have to tell you. And I said, you mean I would have been writing my death notice? And he kind of put his head like this, and he said, more than likely. Because of Carrie, I'll always be here to see my children grow up. I just thank God every day that he sent her to be here with me, to protect me.
Kim's bond with Carrie has not been broken, even by death.
I truly believe that this was a miracle. Miracles happen every day, and this was my miracle.
There you go. A lovely miracle. Again,
Of course it is.
this seems to be happening more and more, actually. And I think as the veil that separates the two worlds becomes lighter, fast forward into our time, which is because this was some, I think, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more of this, I think. Even the less
That's right.
spiritually inclined people. So, yeah. What do you think, Linda?
Well, the first thing that sort of bugs me is, I was born in the 60s and, way before you, Mike, and they were telling me back in the 60s that, the medical procedures back then were absolute, like prehistoric compared to what they've got now.
Yeah.
And isn't it unfortunate that you've got a girl in her 30s and they're telling her that she's too young to have a mammogram. Yeah. Now they're doing mammograms on 12-year-olds, just in comparison, So it's so unfortunate how many people back then, when this technology was around earlier in its days, that people just weren't diagnosed because people would still had that belief of, oh, no, this doesn't happen just to that age group.
Right. Yeah.
Men can have breast cancer.
Oops. We've lost you there for a minute. Oh, you're back again. We lost you.
Hello? Where did I go?
Where
did I go?
You went like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'll just repeat what I just said because I don't know what you've lost. But, 20 years ago, they just didn't expect people to get things at a younger age.
Right.
So I'm really glad that her friend had her back and came through to her. Now, one of the notes that I wrote down here, Mike, with regards to her being a guardian angel, people ask me all the time about our angels, guardian angels, spirits, blah, 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 obviously. And there is a theory, which I'm trying to prove, that when a spirit or an angel, guardian angel, whoever it is, when do they physically come to see us?
Right.
And some theorize that the guardian angels, like this lady with me, she's constant. She's always here because if I say hello, she comes back with her giggly, high-pitched voice, g'day. Oh, she doesn't say g'day because she's not Australian, but she says hello.
Hello.
She comes back with a reply.
Hello.
So she's always here. But just because I don't see her, a lot of people would assume she's not here, okay?
Right. Yeah.
So the theory is, are they always with us or do they only come in when we need them to?
Right.
Because it's when we need them is when we look for that sign.
Yeah.
We're looking for that feather, that coin, that flower, or that smell that associates us to that person.
Yeah.
Generally, if our life is going well and everything's cool and dandy, they don't just come through for high five moments.
No.
But are they still with us, but we just can't perceive them. So it is a theory, you know. Yeah, you know,
Well, you know,
it's interesting to hear what you say.
there is. I saw it the other day on something I was looking at, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of what they call these spirits. There's something like broadside spirits or walkside spirits where they just come in to give a message and go. Boom, you never see them again.
Yeah.
And I've got to find the name of that because it would make an interesting topic on the show. I tried looking this
Yeah.
morning and I couldn't
Are
find
they
it.
like sidewalk or something?
Something like
know.
sidewalk spirits or pop in. They just, you know, come in and give a message to someone for the medium to give to the person, and then they just disappear again. They're of no consequence in terms of relations. But with this girl, obviously, it feels like there was a soul connection with her, with this person.
Absolutely.
And so it doesn't surprise me that her friend pops in. Oh, Jeff says, is it shy spirits? Could be. I'm not sure. But so they backdrop spirits. That's the one. Thank you, Kimberly. Backdrop spirits.
Backdrop spirits. Okay.
Yeah. They sort of pop in.
So I'm just writing this one.
Yeah. And so, but with her, I don't think this was her guardian angel. I just think there was such a connection there that
that's right.
She was given the opportunity to step in and give this message because most likely coming from her, she would pay attention to it. That's my theory behind it.
See, okay, so let's just go there with something quickly because I'm researching my new book, obviously, still. Well, I'm at least now I'm over 100 pages in it. Yay! Last week I was at 40. So I am making some progress. I'm talking about my near-death experience, obviously. And people ask me all the time, for example, can our dead grandmother come back as our guardian angel? Now, the big word that gives us our hint there is the word angel, because angels have far, far greater abilities than just a loving grandmother who comes back just to give us that comfort and support, okay? So that's basically the biggest thing here between guardian angels and deceased relatives. Now, we've just seen a classic example of a deceased relative, even though they weren't blood, they were connected like sisters.
Yeah.
They had this bond, they had this unity, they had this love, whereby one's died, she's come back to give that warning to the other. Yeah. She didn't heal her, which is what an angel would have done.
Yeah.
She didn't say, hey, ring this doctor because he's the best one, because that's what an angel would do. They'd just connect us through that synchronicity to make us go to that good doctor who would cure us, because it's the angels working through that doctor. So, you know, that's the big difference here between a relative and what they can do for us. You know, they can certainly come back and warn us, like this story, yes. Yeah. But I wouldn't call her a guardian angel because to me an angel has so many more abilities than just a returning loved one. Yeah. Okay, guys? Yeah. Yeah, angels, they have far, far, far more knowledge, wisdom, skills, training, you know. They cured my pneumonia back in the 80s. I know she cured my brain tumour when I was diagnosed in 2016 with that. Right. So I love my grandmother could not come back through and do that, okay? Yeah. So, you know, that's why, you know, people call them guardian angels, because she came back and gave her that heads up, hey, go and see a doctor. Yeah. Please don't end up like me. Yeah. See? Yeah. Please don't end up like me.
But
so
what about what Melinda says? What about spirit guides?
Well, spirit guides, darling, who are they? Because it all depends on what the spirit guide actually does for us. Yeah. Okay?
I don't know who mine are, by the way. All these years, I haven't got... I know who my gatekeeper is, but I have not a clue who my spirit guides are. And every time I ask, they say it's the message that's important, not the messenger.
That's right. Yes. So with regards to spirit guides, Melinda, my theory there is those are people, beings, entities, etc., because it can be a multitude of one or more, they're the ones who just keep us on our path. They're guiding us in our life's existence, okay? So that's what spirit guides do. If we are destined to win lotto by putting in those 6 numbers at 2 p.m. on the Thursday night, they will ensure that we're at that lotto. So they'll give us that intuition to get in the car at 1:45 to get up to the news agency,
Right.
if you know what I'm following, if you follow my story. So they keep us on that path.
Yeah.
If our destiny is to become poor or whatever for life lessons, okay, they will ensure that we stay on that path, okay? So they can avoid us they can give us an intuition, like that message from the friend where she said, go and see a doctor.
Yeah.
Now, if the lady in bed with that cancer, if she had not seen her friend to recognize who it was, and she just heard the voice inside her head, go to the doctor. Now we're getting to the real part of what a spirit guide is.
Right.
Because it can be our friend who's died telling us to go to that doctor. It could be an angel coming through and saying, you're not on your part, I'm going to help you get healed. It could be a spirit guide saying, hey, you've still got 20 years before you become Prime Minister of Australia.
Right.
We've got to get you cured of this, so start seeing a doctor. So a spirit guide could be any person, deceased. It could be an entity or an angel.
An angelic form,
It's endless. And how many spirit guides can a person have?
Depends on your belief,
Seriously.
I guess,
Well, it depends on how many you need.
Yeah.
So, I've heard of some people having 16 of them. My God, I would never have a shower again if I had 16 people watching me.
Yeah. Well, whenever I do physical mediumship, I know it's my gatekeeper running the show there, and I know who she is. And I guess the lesson that I have to learn is that's all I need to know.
That's right.
So,
See, this lady with me, every time I ask her, what is your name? I hear her say, my name does not matter, for we are all. And then I say to her, well, who are you? And she says, who I am does not matter, for we are all.
Yeah.
So my head just sits there going, what?
Yeah.
It winds up and it goes, peaks. And then I realise it doesn't matter.
No.
There's no concern. There's no judgment. There's no accusation. I have no reason to want to know.
No.
Because that's just my ego at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All I have to do is allow, accept, and believe, and trust.
Correct. Yeah. That's all.
And that's all we have to do with everything in our existence. Allow and accept it.
Yeah. Well.
And just.
Melinda says, I believe different ones come in the different life lessons we have. Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Yeah.
It could be your dead grandfather coming 1 week, and then the next week it's like a tag team. I'm out, you're in. Here comes some cousin that died when you were a kid. They come in, they're out, high five, pass the baton.
Yeah.
And then it's your great-great-great-great-grandmother, Karina, like I had when I went to heaven. So, and then it might be a tag team. Oh, look, there's an angel coming in this time. So it all depends on where we are in our life and what we need at that specific time. Okay? We all have different instances. We all have a different life path. We all have different lessons to learn. So just allow it, guys.
Okay.
We can look for the signs all we like.
Yeah.
Sometimes they give us signs. Sometimes they don't. So don't get upset if you don't find the sign because that's just our ego that needs it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we don't need it if we're just allowing it to occur.
Yeah.
Because we trust it so impeccably, it's just going to happen anyway.
Right.
There is someone famous, I can't remember her name, but she's famous for some words, and one of the lines that she says is, everything always works out for me. And when you sit there and you say those words, everything always does work out for me. Everything always does work out for me. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I've still got a roof over my mouth, over my house,
Over
I
your
should
mouth.
say. I've still got a roof over my head. Oh, God, what's today again? But at the end of the day, when you say those words, and I can't remember the lady who said those words, everything always does work out for me.
Yeah.
And that is just allowing whoever they are, angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, dead relatives, dead friends, or whoever, you're just allowing them to do what we need without us needing to control the situation.
Yeah.
Because everything always works out for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Powerful words, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, let's
So there you go.
let's got a short little clip there of what Melinda sent us in, and she experienced her daughter stop breathing in the intervention of sleep state. Actually, as you'll hear, she talks about it as being a dream, but I think this is where they could communicate with you in that sleep state. So
absolutely.
Let's have a look at this. And Mel, if you're by the phone after we play this clip, please call in. Let's see if we can make this connection work here so we can hear your story a little bit more. So here we go.
Hi everyone, my name's Mel. I thought one of my stories I could tell is about my daughter, my youngest daughter's near-death experience. The reason why I can tell this story is because I guess I was a part of it. I sensed it. I've always been intuitive. My daughter had a lot of complications as a youngster when she was born. She was premature and had sleep apnea, and could have been cot death if she died. Anyway, getting to the story, she was probably about 6 months old, had a sleep machine, and early hours of the morning I was dead asleep and I was dreaming. And in my dream, I could see my daughter's spirit coming out of her body. And I kept thinking and feeling it as well. I felt the energy, and I could feel her energy just leaving her body. And I thought to myself, how beautiful is this? It felt beautiful, it felt natural. And then as I was watching her spirit leave her body, all of a sudden, thank God, her sleep machine was going off. Her sleep machine is a machine that picks up if she stops breathing. So the alarm woke me up, woke my husband up at the time, and we both raced out of bed to go and to my daughter to wake her up and to get her to breathe and whatnot, and then raced her to the hospital to find out further on with tests, etc., that she had stopped breathing and she had issues with her breathing. So she had to go on oxygen for, 6 months, if not more, all the time, just so she wouldn't stop breathing. So yes, extraordinary story, and I'll never forget the feeling I had. It was quite natural for me, like the feeling. I felt the energy and it felt beautiful and lovely. But yes, I really thought, it just seemed natural. The whole thing seemed natural. Her body, her spirit leaving her body.
Maybe because the whole thing is natural. You know, we talk about the supernatural and we talk about all of this, but actually it's just transition, isn't it? It's still life, but in a different package, if you like. Obviously we're saddened because we missed the physical presence, but it's still existence. Energy doesn't die, which is what we are. But
That's right.
But Melinda, if you're around, if you could do that Skype number, that Skype link we sent you, give us a call and let's put you on here for a few minutes so you can you can tell us. But in the meantime, what are your thoughts on that, Linda?
Well, there's a few things that she said that I really liked, and I will just go there, Melinda. I've just commented my phone number, so if you don't get through on the link, please ring me on my mobile because you're in Australia with me, and I'll put you on the mic here so we can at least hear you. So that's plan B. So one of the things that I love is how you spoke about how it was so natural and it was so beautiful, which Mike just said. The next thing I really liked is how this happened just before the alarm went off. So whoever was, oh, here she comes. I think this is Melinda. Just bear with me a moment. This may be Melinda.
Okay.
Hello, Linda speaking.
It's Mel here, Melinda.
Hello, Melinda. We've got her on the phone, guys, and I won't.
Yes, on the Skype link. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
No, that's fine, darling. I was just saying how, isn't it funny how you had this experience just before the alarm went off?
Absolutely.
So they wanted you to know just before. They were waking you up, so it wasn't just the alarm. You know, what a beautiful story, Melinda. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I'm just showing it on screen now that I have got Melinda. I'm not going to turn it around because her mobile phone number is showing on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Hello, I've got your number now, Melinda. Woohoo! I feel special. Yeah, so Mike, we've got Melinda on air now. I'm just putting her near the microphone so you can hear her.
Super.
I'll just show you what I'm doing, guys. I've got my microphone with the phone. So, Mike, what do you want to ask Melinda?
Yeah, Melinda, did this actually create a bigger bond with your daughter as she's grown up and gone through life? This experience, or what?
Oh, she can't hear. Hang on, Melinda. Talk now, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, Melinda, I wanted to know, did this experience?
She can't hear you. Okay. All right. Now we do have a technical problem because we can't hear Mike. All right. So, Mike, if you ask, I'll quickly ask her.
Okay. So the question was, through this experience, did it build a stronger bond with you spiritually? Did you become telepathic with her as she grew up?
Did you? Okay, I'm just going to go to the end of that because Melinda was just talking. Right. So I've got the earphones in, plus I'm hearing the computer, plus I'm now hearing Melinda. Oh, my God. And I've got her that talks to me all the time too. So, yeah, there's a lot in my ears. But Mike wants to know, darling, during this experience, did this create a better, stronger bond, like a telepathic or psychic bond between you and your daughter?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got that connection with all of my children as well. I've always just got that inner knowing. Always have.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. So it's not just with one of your children, it's all of them now. And how many children have you got? Just so people...
3.
You've got 3. And were they all born at the same time when you had that experience with your daughter?
No, my first son, massive age difference. He was born in 95. So he's in his mid-20s now, and he had a lot of spiritual things happen to him. So he would obviously come up and tell me things, and I'd always believe him. And, yeah, my 2 girls were born in 2012 and then 2013. So, yeah, big age gap.
Yeah. And do you have any sort of inkling who this person would have been at that point?
No, I believe the universe, God, whoever you want to call it, telling me that this was happening. And also I believe, that I had this amazing connection with my children, some spiritual connection, the spiritual umbilical cord never gets cut.
No.
And I just knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
But then at the time, it didn't feel like it was wrong. It felt natural.
That's exactly right, darling. I always make my notes when we're doing our videos, and some of the things I did write down was beautiful, natural. And the other thing I loved that you wrote down, that I wrote down, Melinda, that what you said is that you felt the energy.
Yes.
Because it's very hard to explain to someone who's never experienced this, is that emotion it actually has a feeling of like physical touch. You know, we can felt the energy. Yes. So I like the way that you said that in your story, because I can relate to that too, having a near-death experience myself. And so can others who have also had some sort of angelic experience with others, if you know what I mean. Because, you know, I've seen an angel and I felt her. And when you said that you felt the energy, oh my gosh, the goosebumps just went up my spine.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a warm hug. That's the only way I can describe it. It was just like, it felt so good and it felt okay. It's like coming home. You know, when you come home, you've had a hard day at work or whatever, and you just come home and you feel comfortable, and or you see someone you haven't seen in a while. That kind of feeling. It's just that you know, it just felt normal and I felt so. It felt beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. It was just people look at me like I'm strange when I tell them the story. But yeah.
You're not strange here, Melinda, at all, okay? You're among people who know what you're going through. Well, we sort of understand it because we've been through similar situations ourselves, you know, but how amazing am I? You know, when I saw the video there from you yesterday when I was watching these, and I thought, oh, my God, this is Melinda. Thank gosh, I finally see what she looks like. I finally get to hear her voice, you know, because we know that you watch every week. So how much praise, appreciation, and most of all, thanks do I send your way for doing this tonight for us, Melinda. You know,
absolute pleasure.
Because the whole idea of why Mike put this out was to get real life stories of people who are just like the rest of us. You know, it's not a celebrity standing up saying, oh, I had this story when I was investigating this house, when I was acting in this movie. You know, you're a real person like the rest of us. And thank you so much for ringing me on the phone. Because, you know, people out there all over the world watch this show every week. You know, over the next week, you know, we get hundreds of viewers over the week. And for somebody to dial in, so I will just explain it to the viewers. I'm in Brisbane, Australia. Melinda, whereabouts are you, Dale? You're in South Australia?
Yes, I'm in South Australia. So there's like an hour difference between us, I think.
Yep, so that'd have to be at least a 6 or 7 hour flight from where I am down to you. So just people can understand the length of where Melinda is from me in Australia, because Australia is so big. So it is about a 7 hour flight from where I am down to Melinda. And I gave her as a message my phone number. She has rung me because we're both in the same country. But darling, I am so grateful that you took this opportunity by the horns, because the more we share our stories, ultimately, what we're actually doing is creating this trust in others, so then they too can feel that energy that you just spoke about. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I wrote down felt the energy, I've actually underlined it a few times on the paper, because that's how I knew that you said a real story, you know, because
it's an energy that I've never really felt before, but it just felt so good.
Yeah.
It just felt so natural.
It is. It's so natural. Yes.
Like getting up and walking to the door, it just felt so natural.
And one of the things too that I'd like to ask you, Melinda, were you scared at all?
No, not at the time. During watching her spirit coming out of her body, no. Not
That's
at all.
right.
The only
Because
thing that frightened me was the alarm going off.
yes, that's right. Because, you know, that's one thing that I just can't explain to like non-near-death experiences, etc. We know something very traumatic is going on, but there's no fear. It's just natural. It is. It's just natural. There's no anxiety. There's no anticipation. There's no, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? You know? And I'm really grateful that you said it like that, darling. Wow. So just going back to Mike, is there anything that you want to ask her?
Yeah, if I could, we just wrap this up with a last question. That is, now having this experience, does she fear death at all herself?
Okay. So Mike just wants to know, Dale, one more question before we wrap it up.
Sure.
Do you now have a fear of death at all?
Oh, no way. No way. I got hit by a car when I was like 9 years old.
I'm keeping away from
Sorry,
you
we're
people.
both laughing.
I'm keeping away from you. It's terrible to laugh.
Come and visit me when I was a little girl, and told me she would always be with me.
Perfect.
She reminded me of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is weird enough.
Yeah.
She just didn't want me to look at her face, but now I understand. I have a feeling it's because she didn't want me to look at her eye, her third eye, or her eyes, because they say the eyes are the window to the soul.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So she didn't want me to look at her face, but she reminded me of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So I have had a lot of spirit energy around me all my life. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, darling. Well, I'll let you go because it's now 8 o'clock and we've still got 3 more videos to look at. So thank you again on behalf of Mike and myself. You've done an amazing job by sharing your story tonight, Melinda. If there is anyone else watching, Melinda is just another viewer. She's in my group, Dr. Linda Kramer Paranormal on Facebook. She's just one of us.
Yeah.
So if you have a story like this that you want to share as well, please contact Mike or myself, and you too can be on here like Melinda tonight. So thank you again, Melinda, for being on our show tonight, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Okay, darling. Thank you too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
How cool was that?
How cool was that? Yeah. Okay. Well,
cool was
I'll have to get the Skype bit running for next week. But look,
Yes.
let's just follow on with this because we're running short of time. This is an NDE, a near-death experience, as told by Anne Horn. We'll just run it and then see where it takes
And
us.
here we go. Excellent.
Anne Horn was strangled by her husband, who, in a fit of rage, brought her to the point of death.
And at that moment, I felt like I was being pulled upwards. And as I began to float upwards, the feeling, I remember thinking, am I hallucinating this? What's going on? Am I going to float through the rafters? How does this work? Where am I going? And as soon as I remember asking that, all of a sudden everything went dark. And I was floating, being pulled here in my chest, upward, in a very warm, very vast, very dark space. It was a place, like going through sky at night. Only there wasn't anything there, and yet it didn't seem visually dark. I could see. There just wasn't anything there. And as I looked up, there was a tunnel, a light, an opening, and it was glowing. And around that opening were many people milling around. And it seemed to be one man kind of taking a turn at being in charge. And I could see that they were talking, and some noticed that I was coming. And there was concern among them. And they talked to this man, and he looked and saw me coming. And the next thing I knew, he floated up next to me. It's like I was coming this way, and he came right here. And we were both floating in this space. And it was so wonderful. It was so loving and calm and peaceful. It was wonderful. And he looked down at me, and he had a clipboard, and he looked like he was in street clothes, like a vest, sweater, and just kind of a regular kind of guy. And I knew him as Uncle. And I remember thinking, I don't have an uncle that looks like him. And he looked down at me and he said, you're not supposed to be here. It's not time for you to be here. And I remember looking up at him and saying, but I want to be here. And I had no conscious thoughts of where I'd come from, or anything. I mean, it wasn't a matter of getting away or in lieu of. It was just, with all my heart, I wanted to be there. I wanted to come. I wanted to go home. And I was happy. And he took a pause, and he kind of, you could see him thinking about something and deciding whether to say something next. And with that, my memory, there was a picture placed in my head of a memory of my original agreement of why I had come to Earth to begin with. And it was like I remembered, and I went, oh, right. I think one of the things that I've thought about greatly is that one of the things that bothers me so tremendously about the metaphysical movement, in lieu of my experience, and in lieu of what I was shown, which I think, if there's any message that I can give, it's not about meditating and leaving your body and taking your light being out of this earth. Indeed not. It is about bringing the light into this earth.
Wow, none so more important a comment than today, bringing the light into this earth.
And that's exactly what I wrote out of one line. It's right here. Bring the light into this earth.
Yeah.
That is the message, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't tell you how imperative that is right now.
Yeah.
Where there is so much judgment, accusations. Is it, I don't know if it's a selfishness or a jealousy. But I'm thinking some people have a mixture of both there.
Yeah.
With, you know, we see someone who's doing something that we don't personally believe in, or, oh my God, they're going against the government mandates. Why are they doing that? So, you know, there's a lot of accusations going on at this point.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got to remember here, guys, when we accuse somebody, why are they doing that? Because it's the why that makes it the accusation. That's quite negative. It's very negative. I'll rephrase that, because we shouldn't do it. We just allow anyone to do what they're doing. We don't know what's going on in their lives. We don't know their stories. We don't know any illnesses or injuries that they personally have that prevents them from going against these government mandates. So just stick to your own lives and only concern yourself with being the best version of you, because we don't need to be negative at this point to anybody, guys, okay? Don't judge anybody. You know, I've got a friend, we are on different planets of the universe with some of the things going on at the moment, if you know what I mean. I'll just put my pen into my arm. She says yes, I say no. She says no, I say yes about certain things. But I said to her the other day, the main thing is, darling, I love you. We cannot let what others are doing to us affect who we are.
Correct.
And that is the basic thing here, guys. Do not allow others to affect who you are. Because at the end of the day, we've got to bring that light into this earth.
Right.
Okay?
Quick question for you, Linda. I think you may have answered it before. Your views on the life contract, can they be broken, or can they not be broken, or they can be broken providing it doesn't affect anyone else, which seems highly unlikely because it's going to affect someone. What if you've learnt the lesson in such a short period of time? So I don't think it's a straightforward answer.
You know, it's not a straightforward answer. But when you look at a contract, every contract has clauses.
Right.
So it's not just saying you will do this. There's sub-clauses and sub-clauses to those sub-clauses in our contracts, where if you do this in this way, you can bypass this contract, because all contracts have exit clauses. They have entry clauses. They have you know, you look at like credit cards that we go and get.
Get
If
out
you
of jail
pay, or
clause.
loan, let's look at a loan, a
Yeah.
classic example.
Yeah.
You commit that you're going to pay back X amount per week or month towards this loan. If you pay it early, so there's that if clause.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, there's this clause,
Yeah.
okay? So we can put it into something that substantiate what I'm talking about. So in our life contracts, of course, there's all these sub-clauses. And, you know, because it's not just one piece of paper. You know, you're looking at your whole life with every instant that you're going to be doing.
And lives.
And every intention that we have, because that's our life review.
Yeah.
Because our life review, what is it a review of? It is a review of our life contract to see if we lived up to that contract.
Right.
Okay? So that's the big thing here. There is a very big link between the two. You know, you finish your car loan payments, you obviously want to know that it's all paid out, so you go and review the paperwork.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens with the life contracts and the life review after we die. We're reviewing to see if we lived up to that contract that we signed up for. Because some people do die before the contract is due to expire.
Right.
Other people outlive it. Other people change it, because every instance, every contract is different.
Yeah.
Okay? So does that clarify that for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that my experience in the spirit world, nothing is black and white. It's, you know, what is
There's no
you,
black and white for anybody, Mike. Yeah.
We all have these
We
different
all live in that
experiences.
grey area.
Yeah.
We really do. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay. Well, look, we're running out of time again. We've got two more stories here. This one is about a family who bought a house in Tasmania.
Yay.
And if the reenactment here that we see here is very accurate, then I find this one of the most fascinating stories that we've seen to date. So here we go. Let's run this.
Buying a home can be a trap for young players, with all kinds of pitfalls. Some you can guard against. Some, as one Australian family discovered, you can't. That family was the Middletons, Judy, Brian and their daughter Heather. They remember the day 20 years ago they found their dream home in Tasmania. But the ink on the contract had hardly dried before the Middletons' dream began inexplicably turning to a nightmare. As Judy wandered through the corridors of the old cottage that was to be her new home, she began to feel something was amiss.
It was ice cold. It just struck me as being ice cold. And then the dogs first stood up on end. I noticed that. And then this feeling left us.
Judy Middleton had her heart set on the house and shrugged off that feeling. She continued her investigations from the outside, but as she peered through a window into one of the deserted rooms,
and there was an elderly man leaning over an elderly lady in a rocking chair.
an elderly couple. He was wearing dungarees. She had a shawl wrapped around her shoulders.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know whether it was a ghost or what it was. It was so real. It wasn't just an outline. It was a solid figure, two solid figures there. And they were very, very real. But I knew they weren't there when we had looked previously through the house only a few minutes before.
By now, Judy Middleton was very confused and a little alarmed. No one was living in that house. No owners, no tenants, no one.
The next day, we went back and had a look, and I could see their faces at the window, this elderly man and elderly lady. They were looking out the lounge window. And I never said anything, and after that, I went off the house completely.
I think I started to get quite anxious about it, you know, and in the end I demanded, well, what's really wrong with it? It's not the, you know, and she said, well, actually, I think it's haunted.
Haunted by an elderly couple. A corridor that was inexplicably freezing on a warm afternoon. A presence that made the family dog's hackles rise in fear.
And when she's mentioned the coldness, it struck me that while I was signing the contract with the real estate agent, there was an intense cold in that lounge, and I couldn't, it was so profound, the cold, I couldn't explain it, you know.
The next weekend, Brian, Judy and young Heather Middleton set out again to visit the house. Brian was wavering, but still sceptical.
I tried to reassure Judy that she could be mistaken or imagined it, or, you know, maybe it's a trick of light or something. But she was very, very positive that she'd seen this.
As they approached the house, all three of them saw something unusual. There in the front of the garden was a man, apparently digging potatoes. A man wearing dungarees. A man Judy recognised immediately.
She was angry. She was saying, he's the man, he's the man. He's in the garden digging potatoes. He's the man I saw. He was clearly digging. He didn't turn his head. I remember that. He didn't turn his head, although I slowed down. I expected him to, because a lot of people who are working out front generally glance up, you know, to see a car going by. And he was just digging. Very intent on what he was doing.
Everyone was fairly horrified when they first saw the guy in the garden for different reasons. My own reason was I was sort of horrified that somebody was taking off with our potatoes, because I already assumed the house was ours. Mum was fairly horrified because she recognised the fellow because she'd seen him previously. And Dad was fairly horrified because he likes vegetable gardens and had spent a lot of time working out where he was going to put one. And here was a vegetable garden full of potatoes he hadn't noticed previously.
Although Heather was only 7 years old at the time, even she remembered the front garden. Only days before, it was all lawn, with no sign of a vegetable patch.
And as we drove further along the road, there was a great discussion as to how to handle this. Dad's not a particularly confrontational person, so Mum and I were nagging him to actually get out of the vehicle and say something to this guy. And Dad was becoming anxious because he doesn't like confrontational situations at all.
But when the Middletons reached the house and the garden, there was no one there to confront. Not only that, no potatoes, no vegetable patch, nothing.
I don't believe in ghosts or fairies or flying saucers or any of those things. If it had just been a gentleman who'd been in our garden 1 minute with 2 sacks of potatoes and the next minute had gone, there'd be absolutely nothing unusual about that. Let's face it, he could have been taking them illegally and now had shot through. But I still can't explain how you could have got a large dug area piece of ground with potatoes in it and the next minute had it converted back to lawn. I still can't understand that.
Not surprisingly, the Middletons decided they could do without these ghostly tenants and the house they thought would be their dream home. Surprisingly though, the real estate agent agreed to tear up the contract and cancel the sale. He also managed to shed some light on the mystery of this apparently haunted cottage.
He had been told that maybe that there was a man and a woman in the house and the old lady had been missing, and that the man, they were told, the man had been probably killed her and buried her in the garden.
So I got a theory. What if this was 2 different dimensions coming together? Because not only did we see the spirit world, but we saw actually nature blending in as well.
And we saw the first thing when I started watching it, I said, when they went back to the house, was the chair there?
Right.
Or was the house vacant?
Right.
Because, you know, it's all right for a ghost to appear, but how did the chair get there? How did the bed get there? Unless they were already there. So were they there? So as I kept watching the video and they get to the point about the garden, how did that go there?
Yeah.
So let's go into song. Let's do the time slip again. Because it's called a time slip.
Yeah.
It's just a jump to the left.
And then a step to the right.
To the right, because we're actually going into a dimensional slip of time.
I think so.
Okay? That's right. Because we're not only just seeing that ghost, but we're seeing everything. It's like looking into a vortex or a time or a, what do they call it? A portal vortex, Stargate.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Stargate. Because we all know what Stargates are now. Hopefully, if you've watched David Spade or James Spader or whatever his name is in that movie. Kurt Russell, he was in it. There you go. So it's called a time slip, where not only do we see the person, but we also see what the world was like at that point.
Yeah.
Now, we have had examples of time slips on our show over the past year.
Yeah.
Where someone will just walk into a house and it's Charlton, 1920s furniture, where there are chandeliers and girls walking down the corridor wearing those flapper dresses from the 1920s.
Yeah.
And then they go outside to get something out of the car, and when they come back in, it's now all contemporary design 2020s.
Yeah.
And they think, well, this wasn't here a minute ago.
Yeah.
So there are very frequently now cases of people having time slips where we're going from one dimension. Remember the guy on the horse where his I just had the memory. We had a show where a guy saw the guy on the horse with the cart, and he was wondering why the guy was there with the cart, and then he's turned around and there's cars everywhere. So that's a classic time slip where he's actually consciously gone back through like this time slip or warp or vortex, whatever you want to call it, and he's seeing what life used to be like.
Yeah.
So is that ghost actually still there is the question.
Mm.
Or was it that family just being tuned in because, you know, it is genetic that psychic abilities do pass from one to the next.
Mm.
And so was it that they were all just put into that, what was that ship that they did the experiments on? Time traveling
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Classic example.
Mm.
Were that whole family in that Philadelphia experiment type time slip?
Mm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is that ghost still there?
Mm.
That is something to ask yourself. And there is a little bit of a hint because they had cold spots inside the house.
Mm. Yeah.
So that suggests that there is still some sort of paranormal activity occurring there.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, one thing that I would be asking if I was there is how fast can I dig up that garden bed?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be interesting if you found female bones down there?
Yeah.
Because obviously there was a story which wasn't in the story.
Right.
But there was a story, obviously, that the wife went missing and the gossip around town was that he did it.
Yeah.
But then how can you explain that the vision of him holding her in the bedroom all lovey-dovey where that didn't make sense?
No.
So
No.
the only way to solve it is to dig up the old potato patch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see if she's still there or
Yeah.
x-ray it or something.
Yeah.
But regardless, you know, those time slips are occurring now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'll go with the persuasion for now that this was a time slip, simply because like all the fixtures and fittings were brought with it, as it were.
That's exactly right. The bed was there, the furniture was there, and the potato patch was there. Yeah, so that's more of a time slip rather than a ghost. You know, if I went into Roy's house now and I saw Roy, I wouldn't see his bed, I wouldn't see his furniture, I wouldn't see his chair that he sat in every day because it's not there anymore.
No.
Okay? Unless it was a residual.
Yeah.
Now, that's the other thing. Are they only seeing a residual energy?
Yeah.
Because when it's residual, everything associated to that moment of time that's now getting replayed
is with it.
would come through.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of possibilities there, Mike.
Well, I think the crafty old estate agent knew something was going on. That's why he tore up the contract, because he didn't want a lot of problems.
Right. That's right.
So,
and I can't wait for the owner next door to turn up to my house, you know, at Roy's house. I can't wait until they come up, because they live in Sydney. They bought the house unseen off the internet. Oh, God. They're in for a shock when they come up here, I tell you. So when they've got a psychic medium coming over and saying, oh, by the way, Roy hasn't left the building, but he died 5 years ago. They don't even know the house has been vacant for 5 years.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Even the real estate didn't know the house was vacant for 5 years. Wow. Because I just chat with her, because she had some interesting stories that she shared already. Right. So let's get on to our other video, Dale, because we've only got a few moments left.
It's the last one, and this is the work of Jennifer Farmer. Unusual way of presenting a demonstration of mediumship, but nonetheless, I think it worked. So let's go over.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go have a chicken room.
Let's have a look.
It's like you were with me before I passed.
Yes.
With her.
Yes.
Like y'all were hand in hand.
Oh, yes.
And she said that you wouldn't let me go to heaven without kissing me goodbye. And she says that, now she talks about her wishes. Was she also cremated?
No.
There's something about, she's got somebody who was cremated that's with her. And she's letting you know that she's taking care of somebody who was cremated. She didn't give me the whole story. But is there a Joan?
That's her name.
Oh, your mom's name? Okay, because she's talking about Joan, and she says that, she said, just give me a minute. I'm getting used to all this spirit stuff. You know, that's how she does. And as I feel her, your mom's put together. You know, she's put together. She's dressed sharp. She looks sharp. She'll tell a doctor what time it is. She starts pointing that finger like she is her own boss.
Yep.
You know? And she says, I raised my daughters to be that way. So do you have a sister?
I did.
Yeah, she's talking about your sister. So and she's in spirit as well. And then you have a half sister too.
Yes.
Yeah. Your mom is taking note of what everybody's doing since she's passed. She says, nobody get in trouble around here. She's talking about speeding tickets. Can I ask who just got a speeding ticket?
Not a speeding, well, something like failure to, I can't even think.
Somebody got in trouble with the police or something.
Failure to yield to an emergency vehicle.
Well, she's paying attention. She says, don't get in trouble while I'm out. And that may have been something she said when y'all were on your own. Don't get in trouble while I'm out. You know, because she expected everybody to...
She worked for the courts.
Oh, isn't that funny? She showed me, like, don't get in trouble with the law. So she was just letting you know. Obviously, a birthday that just passed. Is there a connection? Is that the September birthday, or is that the October birthday?
October.
Is there a connection to September? She keeps pointing me to that month as well. I'm somewhere. Oh, you know what?
Oh, yes. Oh, God. My grandmother.
Yeah, that's fine. She's just making sure that you remember everything, because your mama writes everything down. You remember her being right-handed?
Yes.
Yeah, because as she's writing down, she really does take notes and likes to write down. You know, that's her thing. And you remember her perfume, the white flower perfume that she liked? I don't know if you're smelling that white perfume, but I can tell you, it's all over me. Like, I'm like...
I forgot all about it until I saw it on the TV show, Lily of the Valley.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Was there a gardening thing that she did or that you've done for her?
I used to do it, yes.
Yeah, because she's talking about those were good times, and she shows me the gardening piece as well, and she says green thumb, and she's popping up the green thumb. So you must be the green thumb in the family. Did you just trim your trees? She's talking about trimming trees.
No, I don't. I don't have any trees.
Did y'all? You remember a home that you had to trim trees?
Well, I just had. I had to have a big tree taken down.
Oh, that's so good, because she's watching over all that. But obviously, see her. She loves you. She still feels like she's married to you in spirit. Talks about the boys. Talks about you, and she says she's kind of a funny lady, like a bit sarcastic at times. You see, there's some things I don't feel quite comfortable. Kind of just her talk, kind of the way she is. She's a bit pushy about things, And she says, what you need to know is that live your life. You've got a lot more living to do, and I love you. That's what she says.
Thank you.
All right, may I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Give you a hug for your life.
There you go. Yeah.
How cute is that?
Yeah. Strange
You
way
know,
of doing a reading, actually. She's
what,
obviously
in a library?
No, I mean she's obviously facing the audience, but she's side on with the person that she's giving the reading
Yeah,
to.
that's right.
Never seen
But
that
I
before.
had to just laugh at the irony because she's standing in like a library
Right.
doing a reading.
Yeah.
Get it?
Ching. Okay. Yeah.
But she's cute.
Yeah.
She is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually went and had a check of her website.
Yeah.
She's done some amazing work.
Yeah.
I like checking out people that we have on the show, obviously, like last week with Michael, with what he did. Can I just touch on that quickly?
Yeah.
Michael, what was his surname?
Shane.
That's it. I have a friend here who went to see him.
Ah.
And she said at the beginning of his show, now last week, guys, just to fill you in, we spoke about Michael Shane, who vomited up all these gems and rings and things. Pretty ghastly video, okay? So go and watch it last week, okay? Michael Shane, that when we were talking about him. She went and saw him here in Brisbane. And she said he got asked everyone to get a piece of paper, and on one side of the paper to write up to 6 numbers, and on the other side to ask a question, to write down a question. He was pointing at people in the room and telling them all 6 numbers that were on their card.
Right.
And then he'd ask the question that they had written on the back.
Wow.
So Sally is her name, Sally Chapman, a friend of mine. She sometimes watches the show.
Yeah.
She said that was just his entree, because I thought, my God, what a great gift. So they ended up putting him into this room where he's all gaffer taped and chained up, so there's no way possible that he could have any way of manipulating what he was about to do. And she said he brought him out, and he brought up all this. Now, when I say, guys, he brought it up, he actually vomited out all these crystals, beads, pearl necklaces, rings were coming out of his mouth into this bucket thing. And she said then he gave it out to everyone that was there. So everyone got something to take home. So Sally sent me a photo of the gem that she got to bring home, and I will show it to you guys.
Lovely.
So she sent me it as a text. So here's her finger. She's taken it to jewelers, and they can't tell her what it is. It's only tiny. So this is her 2 fingers.
Yeah.
Whoops. There's her 2 fingers. So she's holding it like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
And she has no idea what it's a little white, sort of looks like a mother of pearl / an opal / opal mother of pearl type thing, but no one can tell her what it's made of. They can't name it.
Yeah.
They said it is natural, but they can't tell you. So Del, I just thought I'd share that.
Well,
because
I pulled that from a YouTube thing that he had there, and actually the reviews for what we saw were very unkind. Very unkind.
Of course they're unkind, because people can't fathom what they're actually seeing, Mike. There's always going to be criticizers, there's always going to be abusers, there's going to be people who get offended. Okay?
Sally's just commented.
Because they don't like,
has a greenish tinge. Sorry, Linda. Sally just commented. Had a greenish.
Sally's on.
Yeah.
Hello, Sally. I just showed them Michael Shane when you said that you went to see him.
Yeah.
Because I'm no longer watching us, guys, because I had Melinda on the phone.
Right.
So I hung up. I didn't go back into it.
Right.
But hi Sally. I was just telling them how, because we were just talking about Michael Shane and throwing up things.
Yeah.
So there you go. We've mentioned you on the show. But there was just something I was just going to say, which was pretty important. I've lost it.
Well, I was stuck in being very unkind to him.
Oh, yes. Yes. Because what happens, Mike, I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I said, what's happening now is because everyone's believing what they want to believe. Okay, let's put this politically correct. Everyone is now believing what we want to believe. When we get told something that goes against what we believe in, we have to attack that other person instead of looking within ourselves and saying, could this be true?
Right.
So we go into that denial stage. So let's just say if someone said to me, oh, because this is feedback I've had in the past, Linda, you're too condescending. Because I've been told before I can be very condescending because I know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. Just don't ask me how to fix a car or a DVD player because I'm not techie. But I can be condescending. So instead of me looking at myself and saying, okay, then what are my behaviours, what are my characteristics, how am I wording it so I'm not condescending, I then attack that other person and I say, what do you mean? You're the one with the problem. See how people are doing that now?
Yeah.
Because everyone's saying the other person has the problem. But the only person who has the problem is us. Because we're not allowing, we're not accepting, and most of all, we're judging others. So guys, try it, because I live by these 3 simple words now. Allow others to do what they want. Accept everybody for what they do and all their flaws and their own decisions under free will. And most of all, what was that third one I just said?
No judgment.
No judgment. Don't accuse people, because at the end of the day, no one knows the truth about what's going on. We've all got snippets of information, and others are saying it's misinformation. And then we've got misinformation saying the misinformation about the misinformation.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what to judge. No one knows what to trust. So the only thing that we have to do here, guys, at the end of the day, is to trust ourselves. If you know something to be truthful and evidentially factual, that's all you need to know.
Yep.
Stand your ground and don't let others affect what you believe in.
Correct.
Okay?
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's the message that I want to leave you all with tonight.
Yeah.
Don't let others erode your energy forces. Because there's a lot of it going on, and we need as much positive energy out there at this point as we can.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Sally, if you're still with us, why don't you come on the show next week and talk to us about your experience with Michael Shane?
Sally's a friend of mine, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Sally, I'll talk to her.
Yeah.
Darling, I'll ring her in the morning or whenever she gets up. I don't know. Okay. But I'll talk to her in the morning. She's probably laughing right now. But, we'll do what happened tonight with Melinda. But the only thing is I'll probably, if we're going to do it, I'll take out my microphone so then she can hear you through the computer as well, darling.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll try and get her on Skype.
Yeah, because that'd be interesting. Just to hear what happened with my start again. Michael Shane.
Yeah.
Okay. Too many names. He's got his first name as his last name, and his last name could be his first name. So Michael Shane is the guy's name. It's MyChael. Michael Shane.
Right.
SHANE. Go research him, guys, because he does some amazing work. And the only reason why he gets critiqued and criticised is because people don't want to face the reality of what this man can do.
Exactly.
Okay? So on that note, from Brisbane, Australia, it's time for me to start getting my daughter ready for bed.
And Vienna, Austria.
Get the cat to bed. And here in Austria, Mike is about to enjoy his nice summer day. I'm still in my... I've got my denims on tonight and I'm still here with my Ugg boots on.
I'm short sleeve.
I've got Ugg boots on.
Yeah.
Oh, shush, Mike. Last week I had a blanket over my lap for the whole episode last week because it was so cold here, but at least this week it's not as cold. No. But anyway, guys, wherever you are on the planet, please stay safe. Please remember you are the most important person on the planet.
Yep.
Don't let other people think about change what you think. Be safe, be strong, stay true to yourself.
And be you.
And be you.
And as Joan of Arc said, let me get this quote right. One life is all we have, and to live it, and to not to live it how we see fit is a fate worse than death. So,
that's right.
Okie doke, everyone. We'll see you all next week, same time, same place.
Catch us next time, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.